I didn't hate this movie, and that's saying a lot for me because I usually hate every movie that I see. I'm actually a fan of some of James Gunn's work. Like, if you've ever seen the movie Slither, that movie will haunt you forever with the body horror that's in that movie, the ending, and another scene in there. Those of you who've seen it know what I'm talking about. Like, you'll never forget that stuff, and he's really into the body horror, and so is his brother, if you've seen that movie Brightburn, which was that horror movie about a young Superman kind of character that came to Earth but was evil. That movie had a lot of body horror in it as well, and fun fact, that was the year that I saw 2 TV shows or movies where a Superman evil character melted somebody's face, which, spoiler warning now for the Superman movie, this is completely spoiler review, so make sure if you don't want spoilers, be gone. Because I definitely feel like towards the end of this movie, when Superman is using his laser vision, they sort of wanted to do that face melting scene again, but because this is Superman and not rated R, there definitely wasn't any scene like that. But that's actually something to bring up about James Gunn, is that I feel like because the movie is targeted more for that PG-13 and has to be more child-friendly, and Superman is more of that honest, good character, that he has to be very restricted from what he normally would do, which is very rough, very crude, very violent type of content that was just not allowed for this movie. Like when he is using his laser vision in the movie, it just kind of cuts people and gives them some burns, whereas if this was some other show or movie, like those people would have been incinerated or sliced directly in half. Like it would have been a total bloodbath, but you know, they just kind of got hurt. I don't even know if they die, it's hard to tell. But then I have to wonder if Superman has the ability to control the intensity of his laser eyes, so maybe he can just slightly burn people rather than melting their entire inside, so that's possible too. But I definitely feel like James Gunn in general would have liked to have pushed the envelope a little bit more, and that he just can't in this kind of a movie, because it does have to be Superman and he has to be good, and it can't be that really horrible R-rated film. But I will say that I do enjoy his humor a lot in most of his movies. I don't like every James Gunn film, but sometimes I do really enjoy his writing and his humor, particularly the Guardians 2. That one I really, really like, but I don't really like Guardians 3 or 1, so it's kind of interesting which movies appeal to me. But this one had a good amount of humor, and I did laugh at a lot of his jokes in this film, and there's a lot of little visual jokes that are funny too, like when Mr. Green Lantern is doing his power and he's doing giant middle fingers with it. That kind of stuff is always funny. And I will say the joke that I did laugh the hardest was the one about the monkeys and the typewriters, because it's so on point with what's going on online. Like, it really is just a bunch of bots and fake people writing stupid garbage like that. And so I thought that scene was really funny. I know some people are saying it's stupid, but I really laughed a lot. I thought it was a really good joke. And they do have a lot of funny little visual gags, like when the one guy's trying to open his garage door and it just takes forever, and they do the long hold on the scene and the garage is slowly opening, and they actually show it opening for a really long time, and they're just standing there waiting. Like, that kind of stuff is always fun and just a universal little gag. As for the relationship with Clark and Lois, it just throws you right into it really abruptly, and I kind of don't know if I would want a movie where he still has a secret identity and all that jazz, or if it's better that they're already dating. It's hard to say. I did like the conversations they had, but it was kind of very abrupt when the way they introduced their relationship in the movie. I also did find it amusing, the joke about the super hot chick that was into Jimmy Olsen for whatever weird reason, but she's also a weird psychopath, so maybe he's the only guy that she can possibly like, and even though he doesn't even like her, but she's super sexy. It's just kind of funny and weird twist kind of character thing there. The one really cruel scene where Lex actually blows a hole in that one guy's head is a little bit shocking. I felt really bad for that character. It was just some random side guy that had been a nice guy and been nice to Superman and his little friend, and just blows his head off. Like, it's very jarring, and it's hard to take in the film. It made me kind of sad, but they move on from it pretty quickly and kind of turn it into a joke. But he's supposed to be like the really cold-hearted character, so it kind of makes sense for him at least. I actually found Lex Luthor's use of the interdimensional portals just to be kind of funny and very comic booky, because they create all these doorways that just goes through another dimension just to walk from here to there. It's kind of more of a funny visual gag, and it's very comic book-esque, so I found that actually kind of matched the movie pretty well. And the fact that that ended up tying into how Superman kills Ultraman is by sending him into a black hole, sucked into that thing. So it was mildly entertaining for that. The scene where it's very James Gunn-esque with the musical sequence where one character kicks ass in a pretty dramatic fashion was pretty entertaining, and it's just, I always enjoy watching those kinds of shots. They're fun to put together and just pure entertainment for the viewers, so I hope other people enjoyed that scene. As for Lois, they made her kind of useless in that scene. She tags along, but she doesn't really accomplish much of anything. But they do at least give her some stuff to do, besides in the beginning when she's there for the relationship setup. They have her flying around in the spaceship and making some funny gags with that, but she at least serves a purpose and not totally useless, and that's always appreciated when the girl is able to do something and not just stand around and be in the scene, and we make everyone wonder, like, why is she even here? One thing that kind of bothered me about the plot at the end is when the whole universe is kind of splitting in half and the planet is creating this giant rift in the galaxy dimensions, and the whole city is just starting to split in half, is that, you know, it just keeps spreading and spreading, and somehow, like, nobody's dying or getting hurt, or, you know, I'm just maybe gonna assume a lot of people died all over this movie, and they just don't show it because there's no way people wouldn't have died in that situation in mass. But what kind of bothered me is when the thing goes back together, and why is it that when they deactivate the hole, why does it even, like, close like that? We don't really get the science behind it, but whatever. I guess it also reverses time a little bit or something. But the pieces of the world just kind of slide back together, and of course they're off, but then you have to also think about infrastructure-wise, like, you just ripped apart all the pipes, the tubes, the rails, the electrical, the water, everything is destroyed on infrastructure level. So even if you push it back together, trying to fix that stuff would be a nightmare. So I definitely feel like they downplayed the reversal of that, where, you know, it's like things are great now, but really no, because half your city has been completely destroyed even on like a finite level, and it will take forever to fix that, not just the cement, you know? Going into other kind of plot holes of the movie is that I never was clear, or I might have missed the line when they clearly stated that the video from his parents was authentic. Like, was it really truly, like, that was the video in the end? It wasn't altered by the characters or by Luthor? Because I thought it was the entire movie, and it kind of ended in, like, implying that it really was legit, so his parents are just evil or something. So even right now, I'm not exactly sure if that was truly the plot, or if they might retcon that, or is that really it? His parents are evil monsters. But because of that, they did have a nicer ending where he embraces his human parents, and they show him watching those videos, and you get the good feels, and that's a much nicer ending, I think, too, is to embrace the ones that raised him. And I think his overall message of I'm a human was a little bit on the weaker side, because, like, you're not human, you're an alien, but you're having very similar human experiences, so you're like a human. So that argument's kind of weird to me. It's more of like, I don't know how you'd say it, we're all alive, or some other phrasing rather than saying like he's a human, because he's not human. And I actually enjoyed the scenes with his quasi-senile parents. If anybody has parents that are boomers or a little older, you already know and get it that, you know, they don't know what the hell they're doing on their cell phones, and they don't understand what's going on. So I was fine with his parents being, you know, more on the sweeter side and still very loving and caring for him. And I almost cried a little bit on that scene with his dad. It was a real nice scene. And then a lot of people, I'm sure, are going to love the dog. So if you're a dog person and you love those things, this movie's great for you. You know, you'll enjoy all the dog slobbering and the bad dog and the thing running around and doing terrible things, an untrained little monster dog. It's a dangerous animal to have with superpowers like that. So if you like dogs, this is definitely for you. And I thought the reveal of Supergirl at the end being an irresponsible younger woman with the dog that's untrained was funny too. And her character is kind of like a bitch, but maybe when we see, her story, we'll find out that she's, traumatized or covering up something else or trying to compensate for some other deficiencies in her character. So James Gunn is pretty good about writing in those kinds of things into the character, so maybe she's coming off that way, but she could be a totally different kind of character on the inside, and maybe we'll learn to love her despite her kind of coming off as a bitch to start with. Oh, and shout out to the Peacemaker cameo. So if you watch that TV show, they have a little Easter egg with that guy. He's in there for a few seconds on the TV, so that's a lot of fun if you watch that show. And I wonder are they making another season of that? I think they are, so maybe that'll still be part of the whole universe. So that show's worth watching. James Gunn was involved with that, and for the most part, I enjoyed that show. So definitely check out that TV show if you feel like spending however many hours watching additional content. But I'm trying to think, what did I like about this movie? And I actually liked how naive Superman is. He's the ultimate Boy Scout, and he's immediately we see that he's getting involved in these international conflicts, which he doesn't understand anything about what's actually going on and doesn't know what he should be doing, but he just takes action, right, without really regarding what the consequences should be. So, we can't really judge him for getting involved, but we also don't really know what the situation is and who's in the right and who's in the wrong in the situation. But, he tries to just do what's right regardless, and it's really hard, that kind of pressure on anybody, especially when you have the great power that he has. And they show just how much compassion he has when, he's trying to rescue every single tiny little thing, even like the squirrel, from being injured. So he just has a really good heart, and, he tries to save the giant monster and everyone else just murders it brutally. And, he wants to try to have compassion, which makes his character really strong in that regards. Which I think actually makes him kind of more likable than a lot of the Supermans as of late in these other movies. They've all been a little bit rougher and gruffer, and the last few movies were so kind of violent, and I felt like I was watching a Halo movie based on all the alien costumes and stuff that were going on in those, rather than a Superman movie. So it's kind of nice to just be back to a real nice, genuine character that cares about people, that's trying to do the right thing, versus the really hyper-violent, dark and brooding kind of character. So in summary, I would say I didn't really love this movie. I didn't hate it though. So, it's worth checking out. If you like James Gunn and you're a Superman fan, I think you'll enjoy this. If you're a casual, if you're a die-hard Superman comic book fan, I'm not sure how you'd feel about this, but then how do you feel about any of these Superman movies? Maybe this one's probably one of the better ones as far as that goes. So I think I would recommend this movie to most casual viewers, and unless you really are a die-hard fan and just can't accept any interpretation of the character in any other way, maybe this isn't for you. But for the most part, it's mostly just an enjoyable film, and okay to just enjoy and have the spectacle, because it is cool when they do the shots when he's flying around. And if you're an IMAX screen, I kind of wish they had done more of that, of just being over the shoulder or behind him and showing us as he flies around, because it's actually they tried to hold back on that a lot, which I think that was a little bit of a missed opportunity to give us the visual of what is it like to be flying around the whole world as Superman, and with really dramatic speed and angles. With the technology we have now, it could have been a really cool shot, but we got very little of that, so missed opportunity there. But otherwise, it's alright. I say check it out if you like James Gunn. You'll probably have a good time. Don't take it too seriously. The political stuff about the conflict with the characters in the Middle East or whatever it is, it may or may not be in regards to some modern political content, but maybe not, because this movie's been in production longer than that's probably been going on. So it may or may not be related, so you can kind of interpret it how you like. But if you don't really think about it too much and just try to enjoy it, you may like this movie. So I say check it out on a large format screen if you can. Thanks for listening.